Hey, it's Dr. Jade, Teta, and welcome to Metabolic Living's Immunity Upgrade Blueprint. In today's lecture, we're going to be talking about what exactly is a metabolic food or a metabolic meal, how to use foods to easily achieve calorie deficits required to help optimize body composition, help the metabolism, and strengthen the immune system. And also, we'll talk about the metabolic hierarchy for nutrition. Now remember, the best defense is a strong immune system, and you get a strong immune system by really working hard to develop a strong metabolism. The metabolism is like the Energizer bunny of the immune system. A strong metabolism equals a strong immune system. When the metabolism is functioning well, the immune system can do its job fighting microbes like bacteria and viruses. Let's get into the lecture today. And the first thing you need to understand is that when we're thinking about food, we want to make sure we're eating foods that control Schmeck. Now, remember what Schmeck is. Schmeck is an acronym: sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and cravings. And the most important aspect of Schmeck, if we're going to control calories, is the hunger and the cravings. And so we want foods that control hunger and cravings. If we can't control hunger and cravings, it is very difficult to achieve a calorie deficit. Science tells us the foods that are best at controlling hunger and cravings. They are protein sources and fiber sources, basically meats and vegetables. If you are a meat eater or an omnivore, then you can eat both meats and vegetables. If you're just a vegetarian or vegan, the trick is to focus mainly on vegetables and not starchy type foods to control hunger. This is the first and major consideration when you think about food. The first thing you want to say is, will this, when I eat it, control my hunger and cravings for the next 4 to 6 hours? That's the first priority that you want. Now, the next priority is you want the food you eat to be low in calories. You do not want high calorie foods. And the reason why is because we want to achieve calorie deficits so that we can optimize body composition. One of the worst things you can do for your immune system is to be overweight. And so not only do we want to eat foods that help our hunger and cravings so that we are more satisfied and less likely to overeat, we also want to choose foods that are low in calories to begin with. We also want foods that are nutrient dense. And these foods are going to be, again, some of the same foods: fruits, vegetables, lean, clean protein sources, and things like that. Now, there is nothing wrong with fat and carbohydrates. It's just that those foods can tend to make us overeat because they taste so good. So we all know what it's like when we have foods that are rich in sugar, starch, fat, and salt. It makes us want to eat more of those foods. And so really, when we're thinking about foods, we want foods that basically have this hierarchy: foods that control hunger and cravings, foods that are calorie sparse, foods that are nutrient dense, and then foods that are low hedonic. And what that means is foods that don't stimulate a hedonistic, hyper palatable response in our body so that we don't overconsume them. These foods are going to be foods rich in lean protein, fiber, and water, foods with enough fat and starch but not too much, and foods that really have low combinations of salt, sugar, starch, fat, and alcohol. Basically, it's going to have meals that look like this. This is going to be a more perfect metabolic meal. Lots of vegetables, mostly vegetables, some lean quality protein. If you are a meat eater, if you're a vegetarian, then it would be mostly vegetables. The key with vegetarians and vegans, by the way, is to make sure that they're eating mostly vegetables and not mostly starch. So take this plate that you're looking at here for a meat eater, substitute that chicken breast out for some rice or potato, and you have a well-rounded meal. Now, one thing to say here that might be interesting and different for you is this combination of starch, sugar, salt, and fat, and even alcohol. There's nothing wrong with any foods. We need to stop demonizing foods. It's whether the food works for you or not. However, for many people, when you have foods that are rich in salt and fat and starch or sugar, like potato chips, as an example, like French fries as another example, like pizza, like burgers, like most junk foods, donuts, cookies, crackers, these kinds of things, we will over-consume these foods. Most of us will over-consume these foods. Not everyone, but most. And so we want to keep those foods low hedonic. We want enough pleasure in our foods, but not so much that we're driven to overeat. This would be an example. A salad with just these greens may not be appealing, but if we put a little bit of nuts and a little bit of dried fruit on there, we can make this salad much more appealing, but hopefully it doesn't make us overeat versus putting lots of cheesy melts on there and lots of rich dressings and things like that. And so this is how you want to be thinking about this. You want foods that help with protein, fiber, and water to suppress hunger and cravings. You want low calorie, very high nutrient density, and you want low hedonic exposure. So the key takeaways here are you want foods that control hunger and cravings, low calorie density, nutrient dense, tasty but not too tasty. Now, what you want to do is go back and look at your meals and the way you've been eating and ask yourself, are the foods that I choose controlling hunger? Am I getting hungry during the day? And those times where you do get hungry, go back and look at what you chose to eat. Are you eating highly palatable foods that are triggering cravings and hunger? Are you choosing lots of vegetables and lean, clean protein sources? Are you choosing low-calorie, nutrient-dense foods? This is hugely important as you think about meals and what you can do to help your metabolism and your immune system related to food. Okay, thanks for watching today's episode. You're still time to join and access all the materials. All you have to do is go over to metabolicliving.com. We've got free immune strengthening workouts, meal plans, and recipes at that site for all nutrition types. Whether you're paleo, keto, vegan, vegetarian, you name it, we've got you covered. If you've enjoyed this lecture, please share this with your friends and family. Don't forget to follow us at Metabolic Living on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And remember, we're all in this together. It's all about boosting your metabolism, strengthening your immune system, and flattening the curve together. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. We'll see you at the next session.